she told me I wouldn't remember, and I don't. But I have to learn. Yeah.
So I don't have to go to 3 meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to get some of this off my shoulder.
Yes.
So we are, you are live. You have nobody on Zoom, but you are.
Great.
And that's weirdly interesting.
No, Sandra's gonna be here. She sent out an email to a bunch of people.
Oh, so she'll. And I thought Ed Saunders was gonna be here since part of this is his proposal.
I did email him, but
Well, he was here last.
The bid was his proposal?
No,
there's
there's a
the
different.
corporate supported community where they
Here comes John. Yes, UNNC is becoming quite busy. Seems.
hi.
Hi, Sandra.
Hi.
So I'm glad to see you here because in part it tells me the link is working because we were having some troubles with our links.
Yes.
Last month.
All right.
They were redirecting to executive committee. I think it was a problem with our mail blast as opposed to from Zoom, but I'm not sure.
We'll wait a couple minutes before we start to see if some more people join us. Teresa May.
Send out. Okay. All right, so there's nobody emailing UNNC to say I can't log in. Okay.
Great thing.
Hi, Teresa.
Hi, Laura. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
Sound's working real good.
Yes, it is.
So you're comfortable, comfortable leading.
I'm going to try.
I mean, I'm not walking away, just. I will do screen share. But
Sure that it has to be, bids have to be actively reviewed. When they're not, they're terminated. And it says
by whom?
the city,
Yeah, what's the department that oversees them now?
well, there's. I'm looking at the office of the city clerk and their bid department. They have a bunch of Q&A stuff, and then they
Right.
have this, what if a bid does not live up to its members' expectation? That leads me to bids that were before 1989, before 1994. And then I just asked Gemini's like 1999. So I don't know.
Yeah, because I searched the clerk's file management index. And what I got was the last entries, but it's an entire file. So what's not at the end of the file is trash.
And this was established in 1999.
Not between 19, there was the first funding seems to have been in 96. To create, meaning they hired a consultant to help create. And that was city money.
But I think even in the beginning, it says that these are not permanent institutions. Bids are not permanent institutions.
I understand.
They have to be active. So may not have to be terminated, but
Okay,
they're
we're
not.
kind of getting ahead of ourselves because it's on the agenda.
All right, I guess we can start. Welcome. to the second Economic Development Committee meeting. We'll just do some introductions, even though we know each other. I'm Rabia Khan, I'm the chair.
Um,
I'm Sunmin Lee, I'm a stakeholder.
Right, and I'm Laura Myers, I'm on the UNNC board and being the Zoom host tonight. Yeah, you need to call.
Oh, Sandra?
Oh, hi. Okay, I'm Sandra on the UNNC board, very proud member of Jefferson Park. Yeah.
Teresa?
Hi, everybody. I'm Teresa Masonette, stakeholder.
Hi, and George.
Gianna.
Georgiana. She goes,
Oh, she goes back.
yes.
George, you
Oh,
go by
okay.
George?
Yeah, George, Ray, Georgie, yeah. Yeah.
Because I only know what Bob calls you, which is Georgiana. That's me. Go ahead.
Georgiana is like the official 10-letter name, but George, Georgie, Georgiana. I'll respond to any of those. Yeah, good evening. I'm not sure what else I'm supposed to say. I'm just gonna
Just say
try to
who
get my
you
phone working.
are and where you live.
Oh, yeah, I'm on 29th place between Cimarron and St. Andrews.
Yeah, Jefferson
Oh,
Park,
by you.
great. Yeah, very close to me. Thank you all for coming.
And I'll share the screen now.
Yeah,
With you.
and we'll just do a quick review of the agenda. We're gonna have general public comments. Then we're going to discuss a proposal. It was a corporate supported community litter cleanup incentive program. Then after that on the agenda, we have the potential economic revitalization activities
Do the typo.
and events. And then we have what happened to the previous bid, business improvement district for Jefferson Park. Then old business,
We probably
And
don't
then-
have a lot of that.
yeah, and then we'll adjourn. All right, so I want to open it up for general comments. Oh, there's like a chat.
There should be.
I put a link into the West Adams BID.
Oh,
Okay,
great.
thank you.
Thank you.
So, which maybe we'll click on during that discussion, maybe yet, since it's a more modern, contemporary BID, it has the information they're looking for.
Caesar sent me a link to another organization that actually manages the,
Lonnie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna get to that part of the agenda, we'll get.
to that and the.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
I'm just gonna say, general public comment, there's a number of interesting events coming up. UNNC will table at 2 of them. And we are sponsoring a third. So on Saturday, June 6th, UNNC is sponsoring a emergency preparedness 1-day workshop. And you'll all get an e-blast. I think it's being approved tomorrow by the city clerk, so we can then start marketing it. And then the next day, Sunday, June 7th, is the Debbie Allen Dance Academy annual neighborhood block club on Washington Boulevard between Western and Gramercy, and we will be tabled there. June 27 is the also annual LA 84 Play Day on Adams Boulevard. So Adams is closed between Western and Arlington, and parts of Gramercy are closed. And we will be tabling there. I just learned of another local event this weekend, smaller in intent, but at the Angelus Rosedale Cemetery on Monday, the 25th, they're reviving the Memorial Day celebration at the Civil War section of the cemetery. So if you didn't know, there's something like 450 or 500 Union soldiers in one section of the cemetery, and then 400 more soldiers from the Civil War throughout the cemetery. So it'll be this big event, but they're also on Saturday in the morning. they're asking for helping hands because they will be putting American flags out on all of those graves. So if you know any young people, because I can't do this. I can go to the event, but I certainly can't lean over and do flags on Saturday. Just email me president@unnc.org and I will get them information. They won't get any credits, but maybe it's a good way to volunteer. You know, or any of you. That's it. So it's not a UNNC event, but it's an interesting community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then I guess I'll mention, if anyone, I don't know how dispersed the Film LA sends out their flyers regarding filming, but on Jefferson Boulevard, they're gonna be filming an episode of Bosch, Start of Watch, and they're prepping all week. So they're gonna be,
Big film.
yeah, they're gonna be closing down for I don't know how far, but they're gonna be closing down a stretch of it. So it's very exciting. I had a chance to go over to the senior center, the Sinai Koresha Senior Center, and meet with the board members there. And they showed me around, and they're really excited about it because they're going to be reenacting like a Korean market scene.
Oh, in their building.
In the building.
Wow.
And so I was like, do they have any extras?
Yeah, right, and that is also interesting because, back in the day, it wasn't like the Japanese and Koreans liked each other in this neighborhood.
Oh, was they?
Oh, yeah, no, it's from, because the pioneer Korean community of Los Angeles was settled around USC and then out between Jefferson and Expo to about Arlington. But these were the people who escaped Korea after Japan invaded in 1905. But this country, the administration viewed them as subjects of the emperor. So they were getting in at both ends.
Well, I found out some good history about the place in terms of
It's a very interesting place. And so is Jefferson Park, I know Sandra's gonna wanna know this, is Jefferson Park as an entity, like the Friends of the Library or any other nonprofit, getting any money from this film company?
Well, I think
for the inconvenience to the community?
Sandra,
She's shaking her head no.
I don't know. I think that they were referred to by CD10, so I think that CD10 is probably making a deal with them, with the film company. So
I'm a location manager.
Right,
Oh, there you go.
That's what I'm looking.
You don't make deals with CD10,
That's
like we
correct.
don't pay the city
Anyway.
we pay a lot of fees, but we don't pay additional money for that. And if it's a good location manager, they should reach out to anybody that they are directly affecting, help with that.
Right,
And then if you do have an issue, you should speak to the location manager and communicate your issue, and they will try to address it. But it's not required to make a payment.
Yeah, it's not required. A lot of our individual neighborhoods have either set up themselves as 501c3 charities or have a fiscal sponsor, so they are able to get payments, donations to the community. So instead of going around and paying individual homeowners who are just angry but not affected, if I'm saying that right, they'll pay an organization to benefit the entire community and not just a handful of individual property owners or renters. They do also pay, if any of the businesses have to shut down, they would likely get fees. I'm trying to get her back in this room. Anyway, so to your knowledge, they're not doing, there's no entity to pay.
well, no, and I didn't go in there with that in intent. I went in there to be, introduce myself as a friend to them and to see what they also needed from the community, because I'm very excited.
Right.
Yeah, the Sinai Koresha and the whole, to find out, let them know that UNNC is here and that Jefferson Watch is there, and that I've been, just getting to know the neighborhood and learning about what their plans are for building out, because now it's going to be economic development. They're bringing, business to the street, and so I'm looking at them as like a partnership in terms of they're part of the community,
Right.
and yeah. And
Well,
so,
they are a nonprofit. as well.
Yeah, they're a nonprofit, and I know
Yeah.
they have a relationship with CD10.
Mhm.
So, and moving forward, it would be great to just have, friendships with the, business owners and the residents. And so I reached out to Sandra, told her about it. She was very excited, right, Sandra?
Oh, yes. But the part about the filming, giving us a donation is something that you didn't know about it. So that was the angle that we're looking at.
President.
Huh?
The organization that sponsors a lot of events on Jefferson is the Friends of the Jefferson Library.
Right. And
Maybe-
also, Kristen Reddick, she has one. I don't know if if it's a 501(c) that she has, I believe it is, in order to receive donations from filming when they're in our area. But
She does have one set up.
yeah, she does. But she wasn't aware of that. Because here's the thing, we're not communicating enough. We're communicating, and then sometimes we are trying to reinvent the wheel where there's already things out here that if we were able to share a little more, however that happens, to communicate, then we would know how to bring us together, right? Because if I had known that they was filming, I just found out from Son. Thank you for letting me know. If I had known, I would have put Kristen on it, and she could have shared with Son of how to, going forward. Maybe Jefferson Watch could become 501(c). I don't know if people are interested in doing the legwork. It's easier said than done, to make that.
What? And it's also easier just to find a fiscal sponsor. And by that, I mean, again, the nonprofit I'm involved with holds money for Kinney Heights and for Harvard Heights. We have monies that when they ask for it, we give it back because the film companies must do to a 501(c)(3) usually. Now the avenues, they're willing to, somehow the avenues have a situation where they can get the money as well. For them.
I just
But
hope
that
it's
area, yeah.
kind of, an adversarial situation where, a business wants to do filming there and all of a sudden we're on them saying,
It's not the business that we're talking about.
okay.
We're talking about the
Dutch.
production
Right. It's
company.
also not like the production's responsibility to pay everybody.
No.
If the business has a lot of filming, then they're also responsible for bringing that to the neighborhood.
And if
Sure.
It's a good neighbor.
Right. It's not complicated and it is complicated in both, it's both. But in the sense of, I know we're digressing, but in the sense that usually a film company, a production company, if they're going to pay a fee to a neighborhood,
Mhm.
that means they're not paying 25 separate fees
And the
to
thing
lots
is, you
of
don't know,
homeowners.
don't,
Well,
there's just no way that you could do that.
what do you mean?
I'm
In
saying that,
advance?
yeah, that you don't know all the deals that they have to make. Or
Yeah.
all the people that are gonna come out, there's just no way to know how many people they're paying.
And
I
we
work
want-
in locations too, right?
Right, and I also know that you're not the production
Correct.
paying all the people, so I'm just saying that there's no way to know who they're paying, how much they're paying, and they're not required to.
They're
disclose that.
never required to pay, even, it's
And they're
voluntary.
not required.
Yeah, and if we
It's
want to encourage business activity, then,
Well,
this is good to know.
Yeah.
So, because I was just very thrilled that they were gonna be there. Very excited that Senan and Croatia, they're building this out. There's activity that, it's pretty far on the other side of Jefferson. But if the library needs funds and they're, they want to, so I don't know how this works, but
Sure.
I just wanted to.
Yeah,
Something. I think it's important because if we're reaching out to businesses and then there's kind of a pushback or some kind of, a suspicion that, we're out there for other reasons that might hinder
Right.
their activity, then I don't think I would like to know so that,
Correct. I don't think,
I approach it with.
I will say this, because I've been personally doing a lot of this for many years. What the location companies always tell me is if we make a donation, and I'm usually in the avenues or working in Western Heights, so those are the two places I do most, I do site reference, I still work for the location company, but at a different level than Rocky. I'm running the show and I'm babysitting a location piece. It's a well-paid babysitting job. but I represent as well, property owners. And some property owners want to make sure that there's not any pushback because they want to have continued access to filming,
Yes.
right? So you want to make sure that everything is well handled. But what neighborhood associations tend to want to say to a production company when they're filming is that we can spend money that benefits everyone in the neighborhood, whether, so yes, you need to pay to rent a driveway or to find a place to stash your extras, rent another building that's not being used for filming, but you have 50 extras where they're going to be. You need to have a place to have lunch, which is really breakfast and sort of dinner. But you pay those people for sure because you're renting a property. But rather than paying, what we say is rather than paying just people just to pay them because they put their hands out, if you pay the association, then everyone can benefit equally. So the avenues,
That's in theory.
that's in theory. And it also depends when the filming is. So for example, if you're a production company that wants to film during Thanksgiving week and you're inconveniencing everybody who's trying to get in and out and get their turkeys, you'll probably buy 40 turkeys.
I do think we should
Move
wrap
on.
it, go on to the next thing, because we want to have a discussion about filming.
Yes, we
It's a
can.
completely,
New topic. Okay.
okay, so moving on, Ed, Justin Tennant. First up, we're gonna discuss the proposal for a corporate supported community litter cleanup incentive program. It did go out in the agenda. And
Packet.
and we're gonna bring it up and share the screen.
Yep. Slide the people that way. So, what am I gonna do? To the bottom? Yay. Okay. So Ed, you wrote this.
Yeah, so I had some help.
Do you
It was
want,
my idea. And I to be honest with you, I put in Chat GTP. This is what they did. I mean, that's all the detail.
right,
But basically the concept in my mind was I just been living here. I've been some of you all of you for 20 years. And a lot of the litter that shows up in front of my house and in front of on the streets is from McDonald's, from the Carl's Jr., from 7-Eleven, from all of the various people and companies and that I'm naming them because they're the biggies, but all of the people who are making money, the donut shops, you name it. Everybody who's doing business here, who sends their products out or they're in containers that end up in the on the streets and waiting for us to pick up or for the city to come by and pick it up. I think that they should have some responsibility for what they're doing. I mean, they're conducting business that's eventually ends up being our problem as homeowners or stakeholders in the neighborhood. And so I figure that we need to come up with some way that they can help in this process of trying to eliminate, some of the litter and that's impacting our quality of life, and so that's what was the idea. Now, how to do that and how to get them that this goes through, it goes through process. One is first we got to get them to see some advantage, and I think the advantage to them would be basically PR. And I think that we could possibly sell them on that whole concept of a PR advantage for them taking some corporate responsibility or business responsibility and getting brownie points for that. even though they're, charging $10. So, I'm saying,
We should tell him.
so it's, so that's, basically the concept, trying to get the business owners to take some responsibility for maintaining the decency of the neighborhood.
Tell me when I should start scrolling forward, if they should.
Well, you can just. Funds are managed. Okay.
Yeah, this is where so participating corporations contribute to a pooled fund. And you showed some examples of tiers.
Okay, good. Be honest with you, go through it and then we can, I mean, this is pretty much, I read through it, but I didn't analyze it. And so these were some of the concepts and ideas that, like I said, it came back on ChatGPT and it just sort of blew my mind because this is just an experiment. I'm not a big user of ChatGPT. I was just trying to see what would come back. And this really sort of blew my mind. The detail that came back and the ideas that they spat out on how to actually make this come about. And I mean, they broke it all the way down. What got me was how they broke it all the way down to having the bags and how to
Track it.
how to track it, how to what would be the amount you could pay for the trash that the people picked up. I mean, they broke it down on such detail that I just wanted to get it out there for us as an organization to possibly to try to implement some, if not all of it, or implement it in stages and have to work on, if we can just get initially just getting the corporate buy-in on the concept.
Yeah.
That they say, okay, yeah, that sounds like something that we would be willing to contribute to and have, I mean, it's some work. I mean, it takes some work to pull it all together.
Well,
Yes.
So-
structurally, I suspect that UNNC would be allowed to pay for the creation of a plan, for example. And who would we pay? Like, it could be an MPG to a nonprofit for the purpose of creating this plan. We would never, ever, ever be allowed to be the entity that's paying $5 to.
Yeah, that's understood.
Yeah, because we can't compensate individual. I mean, it's very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great idea. I mean,
Yeah.
So we'd have to get a buy-in for a
so in other words,
nonprofit
doing some seed money.
we gotta find a
Well,
nonprofit. Nonprofit that would be
Right.
willing to take this on and say,
Is this something that the bid could handle? Because like I've been to, there's a lot of bids that have.
It's something that Alani or Rising Communities, both, Rising Communities is an entity within our neighborhood, but I don't know if they would do this. If it had a component with homelessness, the Project Concern could be the nonprofit. They're located right, where are we? On Arlington and the 10. It could be.
Like in down.
It could be LACC, which is a vendor that the city uses all the time. I mean,
Right.
we'd have to identify a vendor.
But the downtown bid, they do their own cleanup. They have people. who
Yeah,
clean.
but we aren't a bid. He's saying throughout the whole neighborhood, so.
Right, but the Jefferson Park,
Well, we
Bid.
have an existing bid that.
right, so
No, we have an actual existing bid that is in our neighborhood, and it's the Pico Byzantine Latino Quarter bid, which includes Pico Boulevard from Normandy to Western. So we do have an organization, if they were, well, you could do a pilot in that part of our neck of the woods, won't count Ed's Street on 20th, but.
well, I'm not so much.
No,
I'm concerned with my street, but I mean, it's just a general, I mean, I drive all over, but I'm just saying, it's just in general.
figure out the Jefferson Park bid and perhaps bring that, yes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so I think we'd have to identify what it is we're actually trying to do. Because it's like an ask, what neighborhoods would want this? And for the Jefferson Park, which a part of the bid was to have the streets maintained and have trash cans out there and stuff in the beginning. That was included. If you read over it, because I read that, it's like 65 pages, but closer to about page 29, it talks about what the Jefferson Park bid was designed to do. And cleaning up the corridor was definitely in there.
Right, so what Ed, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is what Ed is saying, it's like, I'm sort of what am I doing, mansplaining?
Yeah, just go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry. One of the things that bids do is exactly that, when there is a bid in place, that's what they do, but that's not what it's.
Could you explain to me what this whole term, the terminology, the bid?
Business improvement.
Okay, thanks.
Business improvement district, whether it's the Figueroa bid, the Adams Boulevard bid, the Pico, you know, that's what they do. Ed's proposing a more area-wide program where it's a corporate, should I undo the share? Or, and just bring this back up if
Yeah,
you
you
want to
can.
see the details, because it's hard to have a conversation when we're all things. As seemingly his proposal would be, and everywhere else, let's, you know, can we do something where the corporations for PR create a pooled fund, and then somebody is paid to pick things up, and it could, you know, and Teresa has her hand up, but it's a little bit different than.
Well,
Teresa.
again, okay, go ahead.
No, I'd like to hear what you have to say, Ed. Go ahead.
My whole, like, my thought was sort of comprehensive in the sense that I also, as part of, in my opinion, for lack of a better word, blight, is the panhandling, I was trying to come up with a way that, okay, we got the homelessness problem and we got the poverty problem. And people are out here trying to make money. They're picking up plastic bottles, they're doing stuff to try to get for their food, for their habits, or whatever the purpose, they are putting forth some effort to make some money. If we give them an option or a opportunity that could also benefit the neighbors and the neighborhood and the whole community, if they're out there anyway, pick up some trash and take it to a recycle place or to a whoever is going to pay them $5 for picking up litter. So that was my whole thinking process on this, somewhat kind of way to incentivize them and incentivize the businesses to stop littering, incentivize them that this is not, rather than throw this, in front of somebody's house, I can just put it in this bag or get some more of it, and then I can take it in, get some money, and so it would possibly, just get some synergy like that. That's all that was my thought process.
Teresa, did you want to say something or?
No, I'm gonna wait until we actually start talking about the bids, and I actually put a link in for a council file, so we can be up to date on the process now, instead of trying to redo something from 1999. We can talk about the way we can proceed. So I'll wait till we come to that agenda item.
Okay.
So my question as the bureaucrat in chief, do we want to try and pursue, it'd be, in the next year, not this fiscal year, which is coming to an end. Again, I think the way to proceed, besides getting a clear idea of what you want, is then somebody asks UNNC for seed money to create a plan. And I mean, for example, when Garden School Foundation was during COVID thinking of creating a farmers, what they call farmers market, but it was a food giveaway for the parents of the kids at school. So using produce that they had, but they needed to buy more produce. We gave them seed money to create the program. They have subsequently partnered with a major nonprofit, so they're not coming back hat in hand to UNNC to continue the program, but we gave them a small grant to try it out and figure out how to make it work.
Well, do I need to say who I am?
It would be good.
Okay, this is Ed Summers.
It's been doing, sorry.
Basically, I think that, like I said, this was just a concept, an idea, and I put it in ChatGPT and it came up with way more than I expected. And I think that at this point, if we could just identify how to start. I mean, we got 2 or 3, we gotta find a nonprofit, we gotta do letters for to contact the potential people who participate, funded. And then, as far as participants, that's a whole nother issue.
Yeah.
But I think that the 2 major things that we need to focus on would be finding a reliable nonprofit that could administer and keep us bureaucratically sound in the whole thing.
Right, and identify potential corporations.
Right, and then, exactly. So I think that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's another discussion.
Right.
Yes. And if we can move forward and, like I said, this has been something, this whole economic development, beautification.
Well, thank you.
All right, go ahead.
We do have some nonprofits in the area, so maybe it would be in our best interest to start with the ones that exist and see if any of them would be interested.
Okay.
Right, and again, it's like, it depends what the components, it's about environmentalism, then rising communities, if it's about homelessness, people concerned. I mean, in other words, kind of visualize, but also ask them. I mean,
Right.
they might be talking about the same thing.
Okay.
And then it does say in the ChatGPT thing, the funds would be administered by the nonprofit or a bid or public-private partnership entity.
Right,
So,
I mean, right, it's just.
right, so I'm saying we do need to read this more.
Right, that's what I'm saying, we need to
Right.
really go through it and pick out.
Right,
Yeah.
and our role would be to spearhead
Sure.
and then step back,
Exactly,
not to be the runner.
right. Well, we make,
Right, well, I think for this, like, possible action items is let's just identify some nonprofits in the neighborhood and then discuss for the next meeting.
this,
Where, like, is it for homelessness, is it for cleaning, like environmentalism, and then which nonprofit matches with it initially.
Right.
And maybe it's multiple.
And maybe it's multiple, and does it at all intersect? No, does it at all intersect some of the ongoing once a month or once in a blue moon cleanup efforts already happening in our community?
That's true, we do have a bunch of neighborhood cleanups monthly,
Well,
so
this
maybe
is-
some of the money can go to. If they
Well,
are
that's-
set up.
or they could be. They could be incorporated or possibly incorporated or incentive, or be just an example for the people who may be doing this on a daily. I mean, this is not.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the neighborhood cleanups, we do it too, but we do it one weekend out of every 6 months or whatever. But it's happening every day.
The litter,
Yes, the litter is happening every day.
right? I mean, Kristen does hers monthly, right? Kristen Riddick does it
Yeah.
monthly.
Yes.
Tanisha, which is just outside, but the Charles Victor Hall track, Sounds Neighborhood Association, they do it monthly. Somebody else in this neighborhood does it monthly. Mid-City does Washington Boulevard monthly, but a little west of us.
So, yeah.
The Pico Boulevard Byzantine Latino bid does it irregularly, but makes it into a big event. The mayor is doing Shine LA. I don't know how that works, but that's all different than what you're talking
Right.
about.
And it's just, and I'm saying everybody's, well, like I said, to me, it's like people focusing on these events. We got ongoing daily issues.
Maybe
And
it's
an
also,
event is great. I mean, for
pressure on
You know,
major corporations to
yeah,
clean up.
right.
Well, I think you just said the magic thing. This would, people focus on events and we do, but this would provide a pool of funds for a daily effort.
Okay, any other action items for this for the next meeting?
I think you've seen.
That's, we're good, okay.
Mhm.
All right, so let's move on to the next item on the agenda. Potential economic revitalization activities and events on UNNC business corridors, including Washington and Jefferson Boulevard. I think Sandra, at the CD10 meeting, you talked to them about this a little bit. Do you
Right,
want to let us know?
activities. What did I mention? We talked about, and also this is what Son was talking about too, the Jefferson Boulevard corridor from Western to, we're talking about from Western to Crenshaw. And back in the day, there was some money supposed to have been allocated from the Crenshaw Metro to clean the tree wells, plant more trees, and fix the sidewalks. But that never came to fruition. So we would like to work on that project. Now, I understand that they're no longer putting in the tree wells, they have those fences, gates kind of. They don't want to put those in anymore. So if we can get those cleaned up, our tree wells are the squares around the trees is what the tree wells are, and get more trees planted along that corridor. Also, going east on Jefferson, no, I'm sorry, going west on Jefferson, once you pass a little bit past Western, there's an awning there, a sign that says Jefferson Park on both sides of Jefferson. And back in the day, it was lit up and it was provide the bill for DWP was paid for by the church over there, Trinity Baptist Church. But it's been quite a while, and I would suggest that we get it. I would like to suggest that we get it painted a day glow color so it shines at night, and also solar lighting that says Jefferson Park. So that's the Jefferson Park entryway traveling west, and make sure our lighting is better. We actually last year we had this Jefferson corridor renamed because this was a place that a lot of people from New Orleans came when they first came to LA. And so they was renamed the New Orleans corridor. So people said that there's signs out there. I drive up and down and I still have not seen the signs, but I don't know if there's only one or two signs. That's maybe all that there are. And then if we could have it so the lights that represent the New Orleans, we have some globes out there if they're like where you can see them more. So we want Jefferson Boulevard to become not just a drive-through, but a place that people will, as they're driving through, it'll be more scenic. Those were the things that I would like to have us work on. And also, Kimani said that he was talking about us doing something like a cleanup, right? When he called it a Jefferson joint, something.
Yeah. Jaunt. Well, that was our stupid word. This is Laura speaking. What we had also discussed was that we used to have on Washington Boulevard, it was a walk on Washington, or WOW. Mm-hmm. And why couldn't we do a jaunt or something with a J on Jefferson, something like that. But also we mentioned that, I'm losing her name again, Sandra, the pottery lady.
Sharon. No. That's a share lady. Oh, Mandy.
Mandy. Mm-hmm. Mandy has started doing some little bit of pop-up just really close to her business where like 8 businesses are open and participating in an event. Right. But why not? But that's the sort of other ideas, having an event day. The way Walk on Washington had worked was basically, and I didn't organize it. So this was the Economic Development Committee under Denise Jackson was the entity, organizing it. but they arranged with, you know, X number of businesses, as many as they could get, to not just have their doors open,
Right.
but you know, festively have little trinkets to give away. And we also have a it's not really a scavenger hunt, but if you went to every business and you had your card was actually punched or marked,
Mhm.
you
Prizes.
got some sort of prize, right?
Yeah.
And the restaurants, I mean, like Truffle Brothers was open and they gave away little plates of pasta. Across the street was a taco place. You could get a little taco. These were giveaways, but they were also selling, you know, regular food. And there was at the CME Church on Cimarron and Washington, so that nice parking lot, we also had a sort of festival, not a resources fair, but a fair, but to allow other small businesses who didn't have brick and mortar, but who are in the area to have their business showcase.
To promote
And
business.
to promote themselves. And the library was open. I mean, it wasn't just business. It was a walk on Washington and, you know, from Western to Crenshaw. And that was, you know, can we emulate that on Jefferson? Was an idea talked about at the meeting. And I don't know what have you been to any of Mandy's pop-ups?
I have not.
Me neither. So I don't know. She said that she's organized them big and small. And, you know, this is not a unique idea. There's a group of little businesses on Adams, not big businesses, little ones on Adams that do the same thing. You know, between Hauser and Fairfax. So it's doable, but not in our budget. I mean, if we could, again, can we spearhead, partner? How can we do events like this without in an era when we don't have $8,000 to spend on it?
But like, wasn't this something that CD10 wanted to partner with us on to do?
Yeah, but we would need more than that, because unless CD10 is richer than everybody else, you know, their budgets are cut too.
Well, we also sorry, but we also have to look at the fact that there are not that many businesses on. I'm not sure how expensive it would have to be because there's not that many businesses left really on Jefferson. A lot of these places are mom and pops are being pushed out because the landlords are taking the money to build these monstrosity apartment buildings. So it might not be. We could allocate a space instead of it for the block Jefferson businesses, and maybe there's a parking lot or somewhere that they could all meet, like a farmer's market, but it would be more of a community awareness of the businesses.
You know, in New York, they have like a street fair.
Yeah.
So something like
Right,
that.
yeah, it's just a
Close
lot.
down the street and new, like, you know, street fair businesses come. So like maybe
Right.
something like that.
Right, well, the way the walk on Washington worked is we did not close the street, but it was very much like a street fair. I mean, there was a band, I mean, you know, it was like that. It's just what we didn't do is close the street. People walked anyway. They just didn't walk in the middle of the street. But Ciclavia, when Ciclavia was on Jefferson, a lot of, I mean, there aren't maybe a lot of for-profit, but there were bookstores. I mean, there was a lot out
There
there. Were a lot of business, you know, I would say entities.
Yes.
You know, and it was great. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's just an idea. It's a big idea.
It's
It's not an idea.
It's a doable idea too, and that would help to bring the community together. Sorry.
Simon's trying to get her.
Well, because Teresa's here and I've had this question for her regarding what are the obstacles for, I know you're focusing on Washington for the trees, but what are the obstacles for us to request flowering trees? Or because we were talking about how, you know, we do need to have greening on Jefferson Boulevard. And if we could have really beautiful flowering trees on Jefferson Boulevard, as opposed to just, you know, the shade only or the, you know, drought.
Well, okay, yes, thank you, Son. You have talked to me about that, but let me just explain this again to everybody. To plant a new tree is $1,400. The city requires you to have 3 years of watering and maintenance for the tree. The tree species determination is based on the size of the well and other infrastructure issues, overhead utility lines, stoplights, parking signage, driveways. So there are a lot of obstacles that have to be negotiated, but the main one is the financing and the cost of planting and maintaining a new tree for 3 years. Also, Son, the other issue, and this could be part of the discussion when we talk about the business interest districts, many, what we have found is that many businesses do not want trees that, I disagree with this, but that have what is called leaf litter. So trees, deciduous trees, flowering trees, because that means that they're going to have to clean that up. What they don't understand is having shade is going to increase the foot traffic, but that is a concern that many businesses have. If we could bring this into the discussion of the business interest district, how that works, and Ed, I will direct these comments to you. The businesses together, and I put the link in there so everybody can look at the link and see how West Adams business district formed and the process you go through. It does become an ordinance and it does have to get signed off by the mayor. But the businesses on those blocks, they vote to determine if they even want to have one, because once one is established, they all have to pay an annual fee. And those funds are used to maintain the streets, to clean, if they have garbage cans, to clean the garbage pickup. And they can use those funds if they want to plant trees or whatever other things that might be important to that, that area. Like down on Adams, they have restaurants and there's some other things that are important to them. So I would, if you guys are really, if they're not, like Sandra said, there are not a lot of businesses on Jefferson. I don't know how that would work. I know on Washington, when I think about it, I think about like Print Depot and some of the other businesses, but they have to, they can have somebody at UNNC guide them through the process, but they have to kind of get themselves together to do that and determine if they actually want to have it.
So if we could get the buy-in from the business owners or the property owners that they want and approve of the trees, then can we actually ask for flowering trees, or can they decide what kind of, like the pink trumpet, trees or anything within, like, do we have like a list of
a list of 100 species of trees that the city will allow people to plant? But as I mentioned, it depends on the limitations or the size of the tree wells, and also the community. The community kind of determines what they want. If there are already a lot of pink orchids, the city's not going to approve that, because if disease or insect infestation comes through, then all the trees will go.
So, but if we do get the business owners and the property owners to agree that maybe that might be part, because like looking at the section between Crenshaw and Edge Hill, that's actually slated for a program for walkability. So there needs to be like shade consideration. So there's one program that's already
slated by which city? What program?
It's the first mile, last mile.
Yeah.
Oh.
So if they're gonna be doing like, making it more pedestrian friendly.
Laura, you already know that the first mile Metro has allocated funds for first mile, last mile for shade trees. So,
Yes, I know that, but what in the most recent, so first mile, last mile is a area-wide program around stations.
Mhm.
And it's, the idea
Yes.
is to make that 1 mile radius around any station more walkable. We've had our own first mile, last mile program in place for a decade and a half, because it started with the Expo line and then got restarted, in theory, the intersection of the Crenshaw K line. And so we have the Metro board report, we have all the different things, which includes what you're talking about, a stretch of Jefferson. But they did not fund that. More recently, they have done some funding, but they're calling it a mobility hub. And it's not exactly aligned with everything that was approved back in 2021. And so they approved, as part of this, trees on Crenshaw, which doesn't even make sense because there are trees on. mature ficus trees on Crenshaw on the east side. So it's not clear why they focused on Crenshaw, and they did not fund the turn onto Jefferson.
So can we get a petition by the property owners along Jefferson Boulevard to say, we are the owners of these properties, we would like trees, we approve trees, we'd like to choose which trees because we'd like to make this part of our park, the Jefferson Park, the park in the Jefferson Park. Bring back that element. Can we start doing that, reaching out? Because I've been talking to the property owners saying, what do you think about this dead tree in front of your house or this, and would you like more trees? And they're like, yeah, they would. So
everybody wants more trees. It's not
Yeah.
like it's a new thing. Everybody, but if they agree to pay for the 3 years of watering and maintenance, which is
okay,
extensive. But the tree committee and South LA Trees, we're working on Washington Boulevard right now.
I know.
In the
That's why I
plan,
love you.
so-
I've been waiting for a tree committee to start, but that's why I'm like, you're here. So I'm gonna.
Wait. Georgiana has her hands up.
I didn't hear that last part, sorry.
George
Oh,
has
yeah,
her.
yeah, hey. This may have been discussed already because I'm driving the car. So, do we have a map or a list of how many tree wells we have on Jefferson between Crenshaw and Western?
Yes, it's
And,
called Tree
you know, what
Keeper.
the
Tree Keeper. I've
status
sent this
is?
out many times. It is available. It's public information.
And I've been putting together a map of the area as well, and I just sent it to Michael, and I sent it to Sandra, I sent it to a bunch of people, so I could send it to you, Georgina. You could take a look at it.
Right. This is
Okay.
Lily speaking again, and I'm actually gonna ask Teresa. Do you remember when we were trying to plant and did plant somehow 25 trees on Jefferson, right when you started? Was one of the issues that they couldn't even find any more places to plant? Because that's sort of what I'm remembering.
I just remember it was with that organization, Cal Greenworks, and then they lost their funding and it was kind of a fiasco. So I don't really remember.
Yeah, they planted 25 trees. I seem to remember, I mean, they just one day they just planted them after all that long years of conversation. And then it was like, well, who's gonna water them? And we ended up giving money to who did we give it to? The state Cal.
I don't know. I mean, I know
Well,
that some of those
you
trees died.
I know,
Yeah,
but we
what
did
did you talk
money.
about I'm sorry to cut you off. There are 25 trees planted on Jefferson?
There were. This was a project that
2021, this is before the pandemic.
well, yeah, the project was started in 2019. Pandemic hit, but they did get planted. It was a project spearheaded by Dolores, Lizzie, and Helen.
Oh, Helen, that's right.
Right. And those trees did get planted, and we did give money to we did
yes.
not give money to Cal Green, that one, they were crazy. We did give money. Teresa, you found them. Who were they?
Yes, it was LACC, but the foundation for LACC.
Right, not
That was
regular.
only for 1 year of watering,
Correct.
as it was for the trees that you and Elizabeth wanted to plant or did plant through KYCC
we
on
did.
Washington.
They
Only
didn't-
1 year of watering.
Yeah, I know it was 1 year of watering because at the time the project started in 2019, that was all that was required. It just kept stretching out and we kept encumbering the money because of COVID. But the point is, I seem to remember they were having problems actually finding even 25 locations on Jefferson Boulevard.
I have five areas.
Well, yeah, but I
that
mean
are
that.
well, there's just a patch of dirt.
Yeah, but that were acceptable under the requirements that Teresa's saying they have all these rules. So-
Requirements, yeah.
What
Wait,
are the rules?
George, you got your hand up? You want to say something?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I can lower my hand.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so I was just, yeah, okay. So I guess Teresa and Laura have a list. And if we know like where we need to plant them and where, because obviously if there's no existing space that's a different project to do some, have a capital build and dig in and kind of create a tree well. But if we had an idea of what the overall, these 4 blocks, X numbers needed, that kind of narrative would be easier to, if we were trying to build up the bid and try to explain to everyone if we had that information. It sounds like we do, but I'm just not sure what format it is.
And
Well-
I do remember, then I'll be done. I do remember we specifically decided not to replant the trees around the little shopping center with the Union Bank and these were alive businesses, the 99-cent store, the Union Bank.
Yeah.
Because we decided not to do it because it was part of their conditional use permit to build there at all, to plant trees that would end up with a 30-foot canopy, and they let them die. And we just didn't want to give them new trees. We wanted them to give themselves new trees. Maybe a bad decision, because that just has meant we still don't have new trees.
My question was, I guess, he's saying this 3-year watering. I'm just curious, do you have a approximate, how much money is that?
$535
Per year?
per year per tree, and that's based on KYCC. KYCC is the entity that we're using for 6th Avenue Elementary and that we're using for the 21st Street.
Right, and they do.
So how much was that?
$535, so about
Per
$1,500.
Right.
$3,000.
Oh, okay.
Is that correct, Teresa? Is it 1,400 to plant plus 1,500, or is that 1,500 the whole thing?
No, it's 1,400 to plant because that includes getting the permit for the tree, the actual purchasing of the tree, the stakes, all of the prep work. So it's $1,400, and that's based on LA San and the standard that they have for tree planting and how they budget.
Okay, and then what do they still? Is this watering and maintenance? Is it still 33 times a year?
Yes,
Is
it
it
is.
still based on that number? So they come out 33 times,
Yeah, so it's about
$3,000 for a tree.
right?
But if there's an overall like synergy of various elements that not only address the heat element, the traffic, slowing down the traffic, like I think trees are such a easy target for addressing all these big things that are like, air quality issues, pollution, quality of life,
And we
and
know-
identity. So I think it's those numbers may seem big right now and it may seem daunting to like keep these things alive, but overall, I think it's, it will address all the other things like, people getting hit and killed on the streets or auto accidents or, just the heat island effect. So,
Yeah, I agree. That's one of the reasons why I advocate for trees. I love them. I think they're
and the
so important to our well.
yeah, the
Okay,
flowering
sorry.
part, I think we just need to bring back the beauty of because I was driving all over Northbridge today and there were just so many beautiful flowering trees and I'm like, why can't we have this? And it's hot out there. It's hotter out there than it is here. And I'm like, pink trees blooming. It could be kind of like the identity of Jefferson Park. You go down there every spring and all the trees are flowering. And I would love to see that, element back into Jefferson.
Yeah.
Well, I will also say the South LA Tree Coalition did a study with USC, and that was some of the feedback we received, that people like the idea of having a particular tree species represent their community. So it does have to be balanced. And I will just say that even though we planted mainly Brisbane box around 6th Avenue Elementary, UFD was kind of hesitant to do that because now you have all these trees and in 10 or 15 years, they're beautiful. And then we have, some kind of invasive insect come through or disease that is particular to them. And now you've lost, 20 years of beautiful trees. So,
Right. And Brisbane box is if I'm remembering correctly, that's also what we planted, the 25 trees that were planted on Jefferson were also Brisbane box.
And the-
That's
Which
it's
I had never heard of that phrase before.
But what about
built
the
on
yellow
Brisbane,
flower?
Australia. It's not a native tree, but it does provide shade.
Well, we were told what trees, we didn't.
That's why I was like, can we, you know, as a community, as the people who live there, ask for pink, you know, trumpet trees, or the yellow trees, or the African red flowering trees, so that they represent all the different groups that are there.
Right.
Well, let's put this on a list.
Because it's really,
So,
and
let's
it's
find
really
out.
Teresa's committee intersecting with.
Right, so we can talk about it,
Yeah,
but we'll find out what trees can we have.
Yeah, there is a list, I mean, there's actually,
Yeah, it's not even a hard action item.
it's an easy action item,
Yeah.
just go in and ask for a permit in front of one of the places in your thing, and you will find out what tree would be allowed.
So
Oh,
we
yeah, I
wanna
have-
know
it's on my-
what
on my
trees
map,
we
so-
can have and how many tree wells on Jefferson, and two things. Also, we wanna talk about Jefferson Park's identity as being a park again.
yes.
So is there
And-
any reason to believe that anybody wants to do, so we can drop it or continue to explore, a revised walk on Washington or jaunt on Jefferson, or this was all modeled after something called Pic Pico, which was a similar thing in West LA, Pico Overland area. Is there any energy towards that, or do we drop that from our
Have
discussion?
you walked down Jefferson?
I don't wanna
I-
go down there.
No, I don't walk down, it's too hot. That's the
And the
reason why I wanna
fires.
bring in the
Okay,
trees.
so,
well, I
so
think-
there's no about Jefferson, people
think-
love to walk on Washington.
Right, I
No.
just think that right now, that's not the focus yet.
Okay,
Like, we need to figure out how we.
no, I'm not arguing, I'm just trying to find out,
Yeah, yes,
because it was something we discussed at the council office, so we
Yeah.
can put that on a back burner.
unless Sandra, well, I think we wanna have a walk Jefferson in the future, but how do we get there?
Yeah.
Well, there are those restaurants, the Maiden Market and Highly Likely. There's that cluster of restaurants. over
Those are-
there.
But they're
Like-
not in UNNC.
Yeah, our area
Oh,
is
yeah, okay, all right.
Stern to Crenshaw,
Yep.
so
Oh, okay, okay.
we
And-
can, is that in the west, well, maybe that's in the West Adams bit,
Yes, no, it's in
No,
the
it's
West
not.
Adams Neighborhood Council.
okay.
So there is a little stretch of walkability by the pottery area, but this is a question I have for you, because there's a corner that's just all auto shops, and they are parking on the sidewalk, and I think it makes it for very difficult walking. It's like you have to walk through all that,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, it would be really hard to walk on a sidewalk when the cars are
Yeah.
parked on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
We discussed that last night as well.
Yes.
At planning.
So,
Allie's on it,
Huh?
is Allie already on it?
Well, she wasn't here last night, so we haven't gotten that far. We were, last night,
Well, she
we
is-
had committee members saying, why are you bringing this up at planning and zoning? Why don't you bring it up at public safety? And I'm thinking, why don't you bring it up at economic development? It's like.
well, that's
whatever.
why I wanna put this map, I wanna share it with everybody, because it's putting everybody's projects on one map. So you can actually click on it and say, what's happening in the 5-block radius of where I live? And it will pop up everything, and just last night, I was able to link in the LAPD traffic reports that show where all the accidents are in the last 10 years. So you could drill down and you could say, this is my block, how many car accidents have happened within this time frame? You could get a map that shows every stop where someone's been hit, where there's been a collision, and then like, what are people doing about it? So I know that Caesar's just starting up the traffic, or the transportation committee, but I think that's something that he had in his report, of like a map of all the collisions and why we need safe streets.
Okay, we'll talk right after this meeting, because I need to help him have his first meeting.
Okay, let's move on to the next agenda item. The previous Jefferson. Sorry, wait, before I move on, are we okay to move on? Does anybody want to add anything? Okay. The previous Jefferson Boulevard Business Improvement District, what happened to the bid? So discussion and possible action items.
So this is Laura speaking. As Sandra already indicated, there is a 65-page full council file and prior bid. It's up in our agenda packet for anyone can read it. But we asked the council office to see if they can figure out what happened to the money, if there's any money left. And Sunmin thinks that it has to have come to an end because there's a way to end them, but I am not sure that there was a technical mechanism to end the bid. Teresa has now posted the link to a newly created BID or Business Improvement District. And the rules might be more clear now because they may have had trouble with more than just the Jefferson corridor bid. I mean, maybe there's a number of these examples of dead bids that aren't officially dead. I mean, I see nothing in any council file saying we canceled the bid. So Teresa, your hand went up and then back down.
Yeah, I was just going to suggest that instead of going back trying to resurrect something from 1999, just start new. There are new businesses there now, and try to organize it with the people who are here now.
Yeah, this wasn't
money
about
part.
resurrecting it. It's about finding out where the money is.
Yeah, that's what we're trying
to track the money.
That's
if there's already a council file for a bid, there's some sort of process to remove businesses that have, not are no longer there, add new ones, because it'll be easier to do it with the existing file than try to create it all over again.
Yeah.
Well, in any case, I didn't see such a mechanism, but there's 65 pages in the agenda packet. I don't think we want to go through all 65 pages at this meeting.
No.
Well, I brought it up to Heather Hunt, and I'm sure you guys have also brought it up to Heather Hunt, and she mentioned that, and I think Sandra, you also mentioned that there just aren't that many businesses
No, I
that can
understand.
pay the tax on it.
We understand, but if there's
For the new
money left.
No, for the new one. Let's move to
If there's money left, that money could probably be used, for example, Sandra has suggested
Yes.
painting.
Well, yes, of
The
course,
thing
if
and
there's
putting the solar lights in. Because UNC already gave them money to put the lights in, but
Right.
obviously that's down the tube. How many other grants did they get? So in other words, we're just assuming that the dues wasn't very much, but it actually wasn't.
It was a lot.
It was a lot,
It was
actually.
thousands. It was. I know somebody who's still the barber that's here was on the committee back in the day, and he remembers putting his money on there. So here's the thing: we're not trying to go backwards, but the money. It's important that we at least try to track it down. But I think that it's been so long that after a while, money that's not used is, I don't know the correct phrase, but then that money is taken and put into something else. Because at a time when we had a meeting, UNNC, the city controller at the time came out and showed us a budget of all the money. And I saw with my own eyes, the Jefferson Park bid was on there at the time. But that was back in 1900 and we are in the 2000s. So CD10 said that they were going to look for the money. And if we could just build on that, and the ideas are basically the same, and then if we would ask these new, because it's not the landlord's bid, it was the merchant bid. The people
It was a merchant bid, yeah.
Those are the people who are actually in the store, not the landlords. These buildings are owned by someone who lives out somewhere in different states and stuff like that. But the people that rent out the places are the ones we want to talk to. We've walked this corridor before a long time ago and talked with the businesses and asked them if they want to buy in. And most of them were excited about the idea of us having a business mixer, but they can't leave their businesses to go to a mixer. So we have to go to them. They can't close their business down in this economy to come to a mixer. So we'll have to go to them, each one, introduce ourselves and let them know what it is we're doing and see if they're still interested.
Right. And different bids. The reason we keep saying business improvement district or bids is because there is a mechanism. another mechanism would be a chamber of commerce. I don't think it's effective for a narrow corridor. But the bids are all funded differently. So the Figueroa bid, for example, which is a very wealthy business improvement district, but basically there's 3 or 4 of the businesses that pay most of the money. USC contributes a huge amount of money. The owner of most of the car dealerships, there's one owner, that the Shamus Group, that puts in a lot of money. I mean, so in other words, they're not actually asking, well, there's so few mom and pops still left there, but Shauna, which is a little cocktail stand, they didn't have to put in a lot of money because they had the big pockets on that bid. So, there's just different ways to pay for it, but I don't know that a bid makes sense. I mean, my focus is where's the old money, and can we still use that money for community improvement?
Can we follow up with CD10 about?
Yeah.
Is there someone we can email?
The 2 people who at CD10 who would have the most obvious connection to this, one was at the meeting and one was not. So it'd be Hakeem Davis, and actually it'd be Andrew Westall is the economic development deputy.
Well, my question, why couldn't we just pursue both? I mean, one is looking for the old money and one is trying to, it's assuming that the old money is not available or been,
Not assuming that.
okay, well, I'm just saying, just worst case scenario, it's gone. Then what's wrong with pursuing a new?
There has to be people who are willing to pay.
Yeah, I understand, but that's in either, I mean, that's.
None of the businesses are doing that well, and they're not gonna wanna pay money for.
Could
So
I?
you're saying, so the only option is the old money?
Oops, Teresa has her hand up, so she can make a suggestion first.
Just very quickly, so I want to go back to, Georgiana said that it may be better to, instead of creating a brand new motion for a BID on Jefferson, to use the old one, and I just reviewed it. So what the council district could do is do a supplemental, keep the same council file number, but just do like an S1, a supplemental, to reactivate it, and maybe the motion could be to request the investigation of prior funds for this BID, or, I don't know what language to use, but they could do a motion to have the city clerk look and see if there are any remaining funds. Also, there could be something that after 10 years of inactivity, those funds may automatically go back into the general fund. So,
But we could be like Trump, we can claw them back.
yes. But I just want to say that we can keep that same council file, just make it an S1, and then at least pitch that to the council district and have them do a motion, have Heather do a motion to request the city clerk to,
Yeah, I think it might be a request to the city controller. What do you think?
it could be the controller. You know what? I don't know. Maybe Andrew would have a better idea of proper.
Yeah. Okay, and then what I was going to suggest for a future meeting is to ask that the Pico Boulevard bid is, come and present.
Oh, yeah.
Because they are dealing with lots and lots of teeny little businesses, and not to mention language issues.
But it wouldn't apply to Jefferson Boulevard.
Why wouldn't Pico Boulevard apply to Jefferson Boulevard?
Because we have like big stretches of
No business.
no business.
As do they, that's why they
And
call it.
churches and other.
As do they.
schools.
And
And,
they have St. Thomas Aquinas, they have St. Sophia's, and they are the linchpin.
well, I mean, I guess Sandra, you've talked to the businesses, so, you have a history.
Well, why wouldn't you want to hear
Oh,
from
I'd love to.
our bid
Of course.
in our name?
Oh, I would love
And
to.
how they operate and how we can do more work with them. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Anyway.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, not even close to it, no.
yeah.
I actually
Makes
read,
sense.
read up on them, and I've also read up on the ad West Adams. So I read them.
Right, so, yeah, the Pico Boulevard BID on the face of it would not be dissimilar to Jefferson, other than it's a little tighter together. but they actually have quite a few churches that are the key institutional members of the bid. So I think it's I'm not sure of this, but I think it's a property owner bid, not a merchant bid. I'm not sure of that, but that's one of the questions.
So could we also ask, I think we should ask the businesses if they're still interested, because in this economy, they may not have the money. Maybe we can find a rough estimation of how much it would cost before we invite someone in to talk with us about how it goes. Let's find out if there's an interest from the few businesses that we have left here. Would they be interested to some degree?
I do think we need to talk to the businesses, but I would be interested in talking to Pico Boulevard
Because it's in our neighborhood.
because they can, you know, like, we can hear about their experiences, things that they've accomplished, and have something to present to the business owners of what we might be able to do.
Well, and.
But the bottom line is going to be the funding. We can tell them all the, let me finish, please. We can tell them all the rosy ideas that we have, but the bottom line under those ideas are they in a position to want to spend that money? Not that we say it like that, but I'm just saying, just like a feel for see if they're interested, because they're hitting hard times and they're only mom and pop businesses on the street. And if that doesn't work, then my other idea or suggestion would be if we could see, like I had said initially, that the Crenshaw line was supposed to have given some money to have this fixed. So have our Jefferson Boulevard improved. So if we can see if CD10 can see if there's another way that the Metro could give us some funds. In the event that the businesses can't afford to, you know, then that could be our plan B. Or that could be our plan overall.
I just also want to say that I think we should still talk to the Pico bid, because when we go to the businesses, you know, need funding, but what are we going to do for that? So like to have some ideas would be good.
Already, don't you? Well, okay, I hear you, but don't you know what you want to do?
We want to plant trees and,
Okay,
you know,
and
right,
fix
but
the
there's
sidewalk.
also like stuff that we could do, maybe, you know, like fix facades or painting or whatever. So like see what other people have done that has been low cost but high impact.
Okay, got it.
Well, I have a completely additional reason why we should talk, now that our committee is back up, talk to the Pico Boulevard bid. They're in our neighborhood and we don't have any relationship with them.
Okay. Are they in the neighborhood council?
They are in UNNC's boundaries.
Oh, so they should be here at the meeting.
That is correct. We should be engaging with them, whether or not if there's any relationship in the future on Jefferson or Washington Boulevard, because we've had zero engagement with them. And the Pico Boulevard from Normandy to Western is within our boundaries. So, and it might be useful during an election, neighborhood council election year, to have some better outreach up in that area.
Yeah.
Teresa.
And then
Thank you. I just wanted to say knowledge is power. So even if we are unable to do anything, just having some information about what they did. And also, I think we're still talking about Washington Boulevard. So even if it doesn't necessarily apply to Jefferson, maybe it's something that we could use if we decide to focus on Washington.
yes, that's great.
This is a point of clarification for me. This is so new. Just in terms of, you mentioned two different bids, the property owner versus the merchant. You're saying that the merchants, there are not that many businesses. What is the parameters for a property owner?
If there's a bit, Laura speaking, if there's a business improvement district that's established based on properties, then it becomes an additional assessment for every owner of a building.
Like they're asking for some lights. Good.
I mean, I don't know exactly.
But yeah,
So
yeah.
Teresa, if you've read the Adams Boulevard one, is it a business merchant one or is it a property owner one?
I think it's a merchant one.
And CIM is the one that spearheaded it, and they don't own any businesses, they just own properties, so we should look at that. Because that, I mean, that's, Yeah, yay, CIM, if you spearheaded it, you don't have to
Don't they
pay.
have that hotel, Laura? Doesn't CIM have the
They might-
hotel?
Well, do they operate for
The
the hotel?
Alsa?
The
Yeah.
Alsa, well, it's not even,
I just.
It's
I
not a
know the
hotel
president
anymore.
is the. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a merchant.
well, we should look, we should look, but essentially, my understanding of a property owner bid is it's easier to collect the money because it ends up as an assessment. And it's not really like the light street lighting. I think it's more, you know.
Time assessment, or would it be like an ongoing annual? Okay.
So I know for sure the Figueroa bid is a property owner
Okay.
one, but they also scaled it. I'm saying it's complicated. They scaled it up and down.
Based on
But it wasn't a merchant bid per se. At least that's my understanding of how it was when I served on the CRA advisory committee and sat with the people from it on that same committee.
Okay, anything else on this? I have some action items, talk to Pico Boulevard bid. See if there's any money, so follow up with CD10 and see about maybe doing a supplemental form if we want to reinstate the Jefferson Park bid. And also Crenshaw Boulevard Expo line has money to improve Jefferson Park, like maybe, we think. So
Right.
follow up on that.
Sure.
Maybe I can,
And CIM should have some money too.
Well, not for us.
see, why would CIM
Because
have
that
money?
they're on Jefferson, they developed, so there's, well, I don't know if you guys looked
Actually-
into the.
Well, that one place next to the burger spot. That's,
Well, they own a lot,
That's-
they now own Crenshaw on both sides. They had owned the shopping center, but they do not anymore. And they are not developing east to west on Jefferson.
what do you wanna ask CIM?
I thought CIM, there was a half-mile community improvement fund that, just like with the filming,
For what project?
it's like a Quimby, I think you guys were talking about Quimby last.
Quimby is parts, but for what project?
For-
CIM has done
For
so
improving-
many.
For improving the streets, like the trees and the street repairs.
Okay, we can look and see if they have.
Teresa, do
something.
you recall it, because we looked at all of these projects, do you recall? The- We
Not
did
right
not
off, I
have a
don't.
community agreement on the east side. I wonder if they made one for the bigger project on the west side.
I don't remember them doing it for, like you said, the east side. And the Quimby funds are funds that are paid for parks or for green space, but that is managed by the council district.
And the project on the west side of Crenshaw, the CIM project on the west side, would generate Quimby funds.
And that would
But
be a half-mile radius, I think,
no,
regardless of.
no, Teresa just,
Okay,
it's directed by the council district.
okay.
I mean,
They
it could, council district could say spend it in a half.
Yeah, maybe add council district.
Right.
Yeah,
Teresa, I have a question. Do you think, I can ask Andrew, but do you think we would have to do any sort of motion or at the board or UNNC to specifically say, please reactivate case number blah, 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 blah with a S1? Or is your sense that this would be not just something that we could casually ask?
And
And I
I think we
just-
should just ask, because he could come back and say, oh, you know what, it's defunct and you have to reapply, or, yeah, I would just say, just write a letter and just ask, what, can he give us a status on this? And I guess if we
I'm just
we
wondering.
request a
if we need
motion, we probably need to go to the board.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we need a motion, if Robbie needs to have a motion to take to the board, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I don't think so. She's just getting information.
All right.
okay, all right, old business and follow-up to previous meeting. We don't have any old business, we're brand new.
Well, yeah, this is a standard thing,
Yeah.
at some point, we'll have old business.
At some point we will. Okay. We're gonna adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank
Alright.
you.
Thank you. Great meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna